Hello, Freedom Nation. It's Jeff here once again with the Freedom Nation podcast. And on today's show, I had Hilary DeCesare. Hilary is the epitome of the person that went through their Freedom Day. She began as a high-level executive working for companies like Xerox and Oracle, eventually went on to do some consulting work, and really was feeling unfulfilled. She spent more time away from her family than with her family. And that led her down the path of eventually figuring out her own Freedom Day. So I hope you enjoy this show as much as I did. It was one of the most enjoyable interviews I've done all year. And there's some actionable things that she teaches during the show. So I hope you get to enjoy it.
All in you. Everything you're looking for, it's all in you. You gotta believe that it's all in you. Everything you're searching for, it's all in.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Freedom Nation podcast. And once again, we have a phenomenal interview with an excellent entrepreneur and thought leader, writer, podcaster, whatever she is today, Hilary DeCesare, right?
Actually, if we're in Italy, you're absolutely right. But I go by DeCesare.
DeCesare. All right, we'll Americanize it at that.
I
point.
love it.
I was trying to Italianize you a little bit.
No, but it is. It's so true. When I go to Italy, I have to say it's DeCesare. You know?
Hilary, welcome to the show today. I'm super excited. We had a great conversation ahead of time, so I know we're going to have a great interview today and learn a little bit about you. So why don't we kick off with your story? How did you get to where you are today?
Jeff, first off, thank you for having me. And yes, I wish everyone could have heard the first 20 minutes of our call because it was good, everyone. Stay tuned because we are going to dial this up.
It's one of those ones where you go, crap, I wish I'd have hit the damn record button before.
Honestly, I really wish we had. So here's the thing. I am a Silicon Valley girl. I grew up in the time where it was a high-tech, big, giant, and lots of male presence around me. And I really realized that at that time that there was a point where I was charging, I was going, I was up, no joke, at 3:00 in the morning, and I would crawl into bed at 10 or 11. There were nights that I actually stayed at the office at Oracle, was there almost 10 years, sleeping under my desk. Yes, that was me. I have a separate shirt and I would just put it on in the morning and hey, here I am fresh.
Did you have your little George Costanza little rack down below there? Or,
I had my little teeny setup where I could just, quickly act like, oh no, I've been here. I'm the early bird gets the worm, right?
Yeah. I'm a hard worker and I'm just here early. So
I got to tell you though, that was about the fourth time I did that. I'm like, come on.
What am I doing?
What is this? And I had 3 little kids then, not when I was sleeping under my desk, but at that point, when I start to continue through this journey, as you asked, and I had an hour drive home each night. And then the traffic started to get even worse. Then it became an hour and a half. And by the time I got home, my kids were asleep. By the time I left in the morning, my kids were still asleep. And I felt what I call corporate guilt. And that is guilty when I'm at the office, guilty when I'm home, guilty. I am never in a state of alignment, never.
And you're in a virtual stress bomb because you're beating yourself up nonstop.
Totally. So yes, what ended up happening is my marriage fell apart. And I ended up getting melanoma, and we had just one thing after the next. And there's a point of why I'm telling you all this, not from, oh God, this poor woman, but it just seemed I couldn't, at that point, I couldn't find happiness. I couldn't find joy. I was constantly in flux. So what happened then is the president of Oracle, Ray Lane, who was one of my mentors, left to go to Kleiner Perkins. And he called me up and said, Hilary, you got to come over. You got to do a scrub session with all of our portfolio companies. John Doerr was also one of the head partners, and he had his people, all these people. And I did it, and I fell in love that 3-day session with coaching people,
Mhm.
coaching these new and upcoming CEOs. And some of them had done it 2 or 3 businesses. They had successes and kept
Yeah.
going with it. But I loved it. And I started a full on business around it. And then what happened was I caught the bug. I was helping
Mm.
all of these people grow, scale their businesses. And I thought, what do I really need to do? I need to do something that's going to impact what I
Mhm.
care about. What do I care about? What's my purpose? What's my passion? I'm sure many of you out there are thinking same things, right? Like, why am I doing anything that I'm doing? And how do I sometimes exit gracefully what I'm doing because I know it's not meant for me? Or how do I make something that I know I'm so close to work? And I thought, I want this. I want this for myself. So I had my 3 little kiddos, and they were what we call tweens, this 8
Mm.
to 12-year-old. I had twins and another one. And I thought, I really am passionate about internet security. I'm passionate
Okay.
about tech. And I created a company called Everloop. And actually, it
Mm.
wasn't. It was first called Girl Ambition. Then
Okay.
it turned into Everloop when we added the boys to it because girls and boys weren't being safe online. And we immediately got an acquisition offer and took it to that next level. Ended up going out there. I raised about $9 million plus for the company, and I loved it. But I had already started one company. Then I had done the consulting, which I never gave up. I always, to this day, have always had one on one clients because
Yeah.
I love it. I love
That's what keeps you
the,
going. Yeah.
and you really, where you can go with somebody is truly incredible when you're like, yeah, I feel like that woman on Billionaire or Billions or whatever that
Yeah.
show's called. And this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. I'm like, yes, that's what it's all about. So fast forward then, and I'm going to share the story later with you. There were some hiccups along the road, which they always say you're only as good as your failures,
Mm.
right? Success is, it's pretty easy to ride the waves. And I had ridden a lot of successful waves,
Mhm.
but the failure wave, it really took me down. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. But what ended up happening is through different circumstances, situations, I woke up one day and realized that I have to make a change. I
Mm.
have to take control of where I'm going. And wouldn't you know it,
Of
another relaunch hit.
course.
My mom, sweet, sweet Judy, she ended up getting stage 4 colon cancer.
Oh, no.
And this was such a blow to me
Mhm.
because the women in my family all lived into their hundreds.
Sure. So you're
My
planning, okay, she's gonna be around forever. Yeah.
and Jeff, my identity, my
Yeah.
own identity was, hey, I'm not even halfway through. I'm not even at
Mhm.
the mid zone yet.
Yeah.
And next thing she moved in, and it was one of those moments where my mom and my daughter, my youngest daughter, were living with me. And I got remarried to this fabulous man I've been with for 10 years. But during this time, we were living in 2 houses because he had kids, I had kids, and we were trying to, let's not rock the boat for them. And so I had a senior, and I had who was trying to live the life of, I'm a senioritis, I've got
Mm.
all these things. And then I had a mom who was
Yeah.
just dying before me, and she did end up passing, and
Mm.
it was right before COVID.
Of course.
And at that point, that's when I realized, you know what? There is a tremendous amount of people out there that are trying
Mhm.
to relaunch and change and find something and not be stuck in the rut and being stagnant and feeling, is this really it? Or feeling like you're beating yourself up because you're not where you thought you'd be at this point. And I created this company called Relaunch to help with, someone once asked me, how many relaunches have you been through? And I've had a near death experience when I was 2. I've had my grandparents were killed in an automobile crash when I was 12. And so these are pretty heavy duty ones. And I said, I had to count them, and I had 34. And they said,
Wow.
oh, you're the relaunch queen. I'm like, stop right there. I'm not owning that title. There's no way. I don't want it. I don't know. I will be the CEO, the chief energy officer.
There we go. Now we're talking.
But do not call me
the relaunch queen.
We are not. Take that off my, if it's on anything that you've seen, never say it. So that's where I am. I'm doing incredible things for people in business and in their personal
Let's talk
life.
a little bit about that. So how do you help business owners at this point?
So here's the thing. I've always taken a very holistic approach.
Okay.
And you're going to laugh because it's like, where did holistic come out of Oracle days and Xerox days and all these? It's literally as far
like
from
you
those
lived
places.
in this unbalanced life where it's all career and
it was. And I realized with all of the individuals that I've coached and the conversations that I've had and the desires of where people wanted to take their business. And it doesn't matter if you're starting and launching a business or you're trying to sell your business for $200+ million. There was a situation that happened with one of my clients, and he came to me after he had successfully sold his business. And he said, Hilary, I am about to lose my wife. My son doesn't talk to me. I am so isolated. Everything I've always gone for, I now realize that I didn't necessarily mean for it to happen. I wanted something that was a dream, but it wasn't necessarily my dream. And now I'm literally crushed. And he looked at me and said, I did it. I hit the ball out of the park, but I'm still on the bench. And I'm like, let's get you off the bench. Let's get you back in the game. And we started working together. And this isn't just a one-off. This is what was happening when I would go and I'd talk to people about scaling their businesses and I want to take it internationally. And we put a plan together. And then 2 months later, I said, what's going on? What's happening here? We haven't executed on any of this. And they said, and in further conversations, I realized that his divorce is on the brink. And if he took his business into the international markets, his wife was going to leave him.
Yeah.
So there was no way. And then there's a woman who came to me and she was a C-suite executive. And again, I can tell you 1,000 stories from I'm just starting out. I've maxed out my credit cards to this woman who came to me and said, I just got fired. And I wasn't expecting it. I thought that this was going to be a position I'd have for years on end. I thought I was doing a really good job. And her perspective was there are no jobs in tech. There are no jobs right now. Nobody's going to hire me. People have told me that they've gone for 18 different positions and nobody's hiring. And I said, again, it does not matter how many or how little are out there. You only need one.
Yeah.
Let's get you that one.
Find
And I'm
that
so
one.
happy to say a month ago, she called up, she was crying. She's, I got the ideal job. And I said, of course you did, because using this approach that I'd like to share with you,
Absolutely.
it begins to make sense. And when my mom passed and it was COVID, I realized I could not go out and do an eat, pray, love and travel the world and do all this fabulous thing, which I needed it. I couldn't go into the wild because even in the wild, they were saying you had to wear masks. And so I decided to write a book. And I put together this Relaunch, Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life with the hope that through my stories, through my clients' stories, and through an understanding of what type of framework I use with my clients in group coaching, in one-on-one, it may help to impact and have grace, dignity to get through any transition and have a transformation. And the process is called 3HQ. And the HQ is like your business. It's your headquarters. But guess what? You are in the business of you. Whether you're a CEO, whether you're in corporate, whether you're an entrepreneur, you are in the business of you. And there are 3 areas, 3 departments that are critical. And it's your head, your heart, and your higher self.
Mhm.
And the higher self is your highest self. It's the best darn version of you. That's what it really is. Forget about the religion, forget about universe, forget about it's your best version where you are like, dang, things are working for me right now.
Mhm.
And so when I created this, and again, it was through trial and error, through all these different approaches. And you've heard of IQ. It was huge
Mhm.
in the 60s, 70s, 80s. How smart are you? What kind of problem solver are you?
Mhm.
Then in the 90s, it became EQ.
EQ,
How
yeah.
emotionally savvy are you? Today is a different world. Today, it's no longer, people have literally are now expecting more. They've had
Mhm.
time to change up their environment, to relaunch, right? Relaunch, because I'm
Mhm.
relaunching people anywhere, anytime, anyhow, any which way. We are relaunching, whether it's global relaunch, personal, professional, any of these. People are relaunching. And what became super important was realizing that too many of us are tuning out. We're like,
Mhm.
oh my God, this is just too much. There's been too much change, too much of this. And I look at it like this in 3HQ, in the head component, there are steps that I teach, certainly foundational steps to running a successful company that can scale 6 to 7 to 8 and beyond. All right. But if everyone did those steps, everyone would not become successful
Mhm.
because what's missing? It's the other components, it's the other parts of it. Yes, in the head, you've got your identity. Your business has an identity. Your clients have identities. And then you think about that in your head, you've got your limiting beliefs and you've got your empowering beliefs that a lot of people don't talk about, right?
Mhm.
It's only the trauma, it's only the bad things that are happening, the limiting ones. But there's also the really great ones that give us a lot of indication of what is really going to light you up. It's really going to fuel you. But then you look at your heart and your emotion and your why and how you're
Mhm.
going to impact. And that becomes super important. And there's a huge element in the heart piece that I go into. And that is there are people, there are gurus out there that are shouting from stages, literally shouting, love your life, love yourself, love your business, love. And I am a proponent of love. I love.
Yeah.
I was such a proponent that I took up a hobby of being a matchmaker a few years ago and went out and got my matchmaking institute. Yeah, Hilary DeCesare. I loved it because I thought, what if I could get you to date yourself? What if I could get you to be the CEO of you? It means you have to be willing to date you. And let me
Mhm.
tell you, there's not a lot of people when I ask this question, would you date yourself? So I realized how great right now, what if I'm not the only one out there that at some point really did not like myself? Really,
Mhm.
actually, I despised myself. And I couldn't go from that side of the canyon and do an evil Knievel over to the other side. I needed to take it a little slower. I needed to go from that hate to like, and then I got to love. And
Just
that's where
just
things started
remember,
to.
Evil Knievel only made it halfway across the canyon. It took his son later
that's
to actually
that's
make it over the top.
Jeff, that is such a good point. See, he didn't make it, nor did I. And then
Yeah.
that's when you crash and you burn because you try, you think, am I not normal? I grew
Mhm.
up thinking like if I were ever unhappy, there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, put on a happy face. And I'm like, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that we go into in the heart area. There's emotional blocks. There's things, and I've studied I have a degree in psychology and I've been studying neuroscience for about 10 years, super passionate about it and having simple ways to explain it that will be relevant in business as well.
Mhm.
And then as you get from the head to the heart, you go to your highest self. That's your energy.
Mhm.
That's where people say, oh gosh, I want like minded people around me. No, like minded energy is what's going to bring in massive success. Like minded energy is going to bring in partnerships. It's going to bring in the type of people you want to work with. And so I would really love, and this is so crazy, but I'd like to take you through a process that will highlight the 3HQ. Your HQ and the 3H's are the head, the heart, the higher self, the highest self. And I'd love to take you through a process I call tune in. Are you game?
Bring it on.
Jeff, you're so great. Yes, bring it on. So here's the thing. A lot of times people say, Hilary, 3HQ, that's great. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Conceptually, I get it. But how do I actually put it to use? I have a full program, 6-month program, a year-long program that will really put it into place. But I'd like to give you an example of something that I call the tune-in process. It's like a pocket tool, and you can use it starting right now, starting today. And I suggest you use it as many times throughout the day as you possibly can. Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness it was created. Okay. It took me so many years to figure out what the heck he meant. Okay. I was not understanding it. I'm like, I don't get it, but I now totally get it. And what I tell people is when you are feeling like, is this all there? Is my business ever going to be successful? Am I ever going to get through this financial gate of 250,000 or 500,000 or 1 million or 250 or whatever it is, 10 million, whatever the gate that you're looking for? It seems like it's so far out there. And you have doubt and you have fears, and even you have a little like shame and blame. If you're like, God, I can't cross this. I keep trying. I'm working harder and more hours. And you talk about finance and time and intention. And this is where this begins. We have to elevate ourselves to a higher level of energy. We have to create energy on demand that will allow us to rise from a lower level of energy to a higher level of energy. If you think about shame and blame on a vibrational level, they're at 20 or 30. Fear is at 100. Well, love and joy is above 500.
Okay.
And so you need to be at the higher level so that you attract what you're looking for at the higher level.
Okay.
And so how we do that is the tune-in process. And the way we go about it is 4 easy steps. Easy. I keep it simple. Step 1. And Jeff, I'm just going to ask you to like riff with me. Step 1 is, what is a business challenge? We're just going to stick with business, yet you could do this with personal. What is a business challenge that you have right now that you're facing? It's depleting your energy a bit. It's bringing you down. It's, why hasn't this happened?
Yeah, I think for me, it is a conscious focus of this first half of 2023 has been to really broaden my reach through communications, through podcasts and YouTube channels and all that. And there's a point where you just keep working and you think you're talking just to yourself. At that point, you've not really built that tribe that's interacting with you and all that. And you wonder is it worth it at that point?
Okay.
Is it worth working as hard as you're working every day to do this?
So what I'm hearing you say is for the second half of the year, the challenge, you don't want to keep grinding, keep putting out a lot of what you're doing, exerting yourself with all the podcasts. You want to see some way that you're going to be able to incorporate this into growth of your business and growth of yourself, right? Where you're going, where you're taking this. So the real challenge, and what he's really done here is beautiful, because sometimes you're going into something like I got on the show, right? Before I got on the show, the challenges can be good and bad, right? You can have a negative perception of a challenge and a positive. When I think of a challenge like coming on to your show, Jeff, there was an intention to somebody listening out there that really resonates with my message, sharing, maybe it's the tune-in process. So I love that you said it's your intention. So what you could do is you could say your challenge is really the second half of the year now is to allow for growth, allow for your business to scale, and really think about what that's going to look like. So now that's step 1. Step 2 is called change the channel. And changing the channel is when, because step 1 was head, right? I'm asking you, what's your challenge? That's all head based. What am I doing? My thoughts are all around this negative thing. But step 2 is change the channel. It's that highest self. It's going to that energy level. And the way we do that is with a song. And so I want you to tell me a song, a name of a song that absolutely, when you hear it, it lights you up. What would that song be?
Legendary by Welshie Arms, the greatest entrepreneur song that has ever been written.
Legendary.
Legendary.
Okay. Okay. Now, can I be so bold to have you hum it? I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. Okay. So
There's a lot of yelling
legendary.
in the song, so you probably don't want that. But yeah,
Okay.
that is my, as we talked before, of what we do routine wise. It's part of my morning routine. That's part of my Alexa. And that's the last thing that Alexa does. I have affirmations. I have everything on there. That's the last thing that plays. And that's my wrestling walkout song going to battle in business every day.
Okay, you are already starting to tune in. So you are going to absolutely embrace this. Now, every time you start to think about your growth in the second half and about broadening your reach, you're going to think of this song. Now, you may say, hey, I want to come up with a different song because that's my daily theme song. That's my arena song, as you said. But here's the greatest part. Every time you hear this, and I want you as step 2 to take this song Legendary, I want you to hear it in your head. Now, you could play it on your phone, you could play it on a stereo, you could do whatever. The song, I want you to think about it from a neuroscience perspective, and this has all of the science behind it. I want you to listen and think about it. Play it in your head for at least 20 seconds, changing the state by moving your body, by literally anything you can do. And so I just want you to close your eyes really quickly. Think of the song Legendary. Jeff, turn it up. Turn it up right now. It's not loud enough. All right. Move your body 20 seconds. Now, what we're going to do is go into step 3. Step 3 is where you think of yourself emotionally charged up. You are right now, you have broadened your reach. You have hit that goal. You have done everything and you are living the life right now. Okay. And I want you to tell me, is there a color, and tune back into Legendary, tune back into the song because we want to elevate. That song keeps you at a higher level of energy. Is there a color that's coming to you right now that you're
Gold.
wearing, that you're seeing? Gold. I want you to 10x that gold. Make that gold so bright, so vivid, because what we're doing is we're charging up different areas in your head. So good. So now I am going to use one more step of neuroscience where we're going to take an internal picture in your mind of that image. You're going to see that image in your head by closing your eyes. And when I say click, that is going to be your anchor. You're going to open and close your eyes very quickly. Click. Click. 3 clicks. You have 3 incredible pictures. They are like bouncing off. It is like your micro movie in your mind. Now, the 4th step is that delay is not anything that the universe that you can do now. It is so in the cards. It is your future. That image is ingrained in your head. So what is a micro action that you can take right now, today, as soon as we're done? You told me I'm the last person you're interviewing. What could you do? Tune back into Legendary. Hear it inside of you. What could you do right now as one step towards that mini movie in your mind, that image of you with that gold?
Connect all the pieces of the pie in the back end of my sales system to the end result. That's this one little project that needs to be completed, and it's a quick, easy, get it done, and then promote to that system.
You know what I love about Jeff? That he's saying it's a quick and easy. For a lot of people out there, you're probably like, connect all that and and make it all happen. But he's saying for him, and this is a great point, for him, it's easy. I want it to be easy for you. It might be to reach out to somebody that you know can help you with this. It might be to look at and formulate on a piece of paper a quick outline. It might be going over to AI and putting in a prompt and saying, I just want the basics. What is it? a micro action. It shouldn't take you more than 10, 15 minutes. And I had people do a minute, but now every time he comes back to this specific challenge or intention, he will go through this process again. He will become a master at the tune in process. And here's the key. Every time you do something, whether it's coming on this show, whether it's doing a post, going live, whether it's getting on a stage, whether it's doing your finances, if you can tune in right before to the project at hand, you are literally putting out the energy that will come back to you. So you're able to figure things out faster. You're able to do more with less time, as you always talk about. And that's the key here, because when you're at a low energy, you're wasting time. Your intentions are all over the place, and that's costing you money. So that's how we tie it all together. So tune in process. Again, step 1, your challenge or your intention. Step 2 is change the channel using a song, letting it go through your body for at least 20 seconds. Step 3, the micro movie in your mind, seeing a color, making it 10x, doing the click, anchoring that image. And step 4 is a micro action to move towards motivating and success.
That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I need to know now, once you're done with what you said, this connecting the pie, you have my email. You can email me, DM me. I am keeping you accountable. I'm keeping you accountable. It's time to do it. And everyone else out there, everyone else, take yourself through this process right now. What are you going to commit to do? Not tomorrow, but today.
Now. So here's what our challenge is going to be. Everybody, when you do that one thing, you go through that process. When you do that one thing, put a comment in the show here, and then I can share all that with Hilary. We want to do this. Everybody commit to this, and I will even put that out there myself when it's complete, so y'all know that I've made that step.
I love it. So I just got chills. This is the energy I'm talking about.
I know I'm charged up right now. So what is new in your world right now? What are you working on?
So I am so excited. Our book is out, and there are other pieces of it, an Audible, a hard copy of it. It's all coming together, and super excited to announce that. And I also might be thinking of another book that's in the works. I have to say, probably my biggest passion is the fired up entrepreneur. And that's something that has come from 23 years of coaching and really knowing what you need to know, knowing that it's not about step 1 to 25, which I give you. It's about everything else with 3HQs. So we have that being offered coming up as well. And you can take the 3HQ quiz at our website. It's therelaunch.com. If you scroll down, you can see where you fall. Are you a leader that's leading from your head or your heart or your highest self? And we give you quick and easy tips to start your journey to become more in alignment with all 3.
I love that. All right. Now it's time to jump over to the fast 5 questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So number 1, you wake up in the morning, business is totally gone. You have a place to live. You have $500, laptop, computer, food and drink. What are you going to do first?
Ooh, okay. First, what I would do is I would write down 5 people that I would call instantly that I respect. They always talk about you're only as strong as your network. And so I would start to look at the people that I have always loved what they're doing. And am I allowed to get back into the coaching business, or do I have to pick something?
Do whatever you want. You can absolutely do whatever you want.
Okay. So I would pick up my phone, I would get on Instagram, and I would start coaching. I would literally start doing some coaching sessions right then and there. But I do think that there's something so powerful about making sure that you have your list, the people that you are connecting with, and speaking about what is going on in their world. So if indeed something is not quite the way you want it in your own business, maybe you haven't gone all the way down and only have $500, you can immediately call them and say, hey, Let's do something. Let's partner. Hey, what if I did something like this?
Love it. Love it. Second one, what's the biggest business mistake you've ever made?
No. I'll tell you.
Have to pick one.
Okay. Yeah, no, exactly. Let me tell you, there's plenty of them. It is really, I didn't trust my intuition. And
Hmm.
that's one of the main stories I tell in my book that has to do with 3HQ. It
Hmm.
was a complete disaster.
I love it. What's a good book that you'd recommend for our audience?
Okay, so I'll tell you one I just recommended yesterday, and I'm working with a student who's graduating from Brown. I have a passion for college kids, and we're coming out with this tune-in process, everyone, for college kids that's going to be
Nice.
available for them. But I am working with him, and I said, Think and Grow Rich. Why is that so important? Because we all have the ability to do what Napoleon Hill did, to
Mhm.
reach out to people, much like I just said with industry experts, people, and be able to, whether they come on your podcast, whether you are writing an article, whether you're doing a summit, and you can include them. And by doing that, what you're doing is this amazing kid has 75 people he's interviewed. He's now interviewed. And I said, it's all about this. This allows you to learn from others' failures and successes.
We'll get to the last question here, but I actually, for my book that's coming out, I actually chose my dream 100 people that I would love to have on the show that I've not been able to get on the show. I've sent them emails with one question: what is your definition of freedom? And have gotten
Love,
things back, some amazing things back from people that I would have never been able to interact with,
see,
and not
and that,
asking anything of them. So it's you've got to ask. You've got to
mm.
get yourself into uncomfortable situations like that.
But you also, here's the thing, a lot of times, if you look at the law of attraction, you look at The Secret, the book, The Secret, and
Yeah.
people think, oh, this is what I want. You put together your list.
Yeah.
That's the key. That is the key right there. You took a micro action to start to create 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 100. That's what we have to be looking at. And every single entrepreneur, every single person in corporate, you have to know who you really are admiring, respecting. And we always talk about the future identity of yourself. Wow. You start to look at these people. I remember when I was going through a divorce and I started to say, okay, who do I think has really great marriages?
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to find 5 couples, but I finally did. And I went out and I interviewed them. I really talked to them. And guess what?
What is it?
I put the highlights down, and lo and behold, I was able to then be able to bring in that type of marriage into my life. And that's who I'm married to now. It's an accumulation of these 5 couples.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What's a tool that you use in your business every day that you could recommend?
So I would say there are 2. And
Okay.
one, remember, I've been doing this for 23 years. So Evernote is something I've used forever. And I write notes on every single client I work with and tag them and be able to go back and know where they are, because I have people that come and work with me for a year or 2, and then they go off and then they come back. And I want to make sure I'm tracking that. And the other one that I have to say that I'm really loving, and I have been using it for about a year, is Monday, monday.com.
Nice. Yep, that's another one that's been popping up lately.
Yeah, I have to say, and we're actually starting to use the CRM component of it as well.
Okay.
Really, I suggest you look at it. Super easy for everyone on the team to follow. And we go through it on our Monday calls. We go through Monday.
Yeah, I love it. Perfect. It's probably where they got it originally. Okay,
Yeah,
so
probably.
last question. What is your definition of freedom?
I often talk about people being on the struggle bus, and it's never any fun to be. Everything has to be a struggle. And many of us generationally, we've been taught that things have to be a struggle. When I think of freedom, financial freedom, I think of the ability to have this lifestyle of success. And right now, I feel like I am the luckiest person alive, because this is what I teach, in that you have to first identify what is your lifestyle of success. For me, it's being able to do what I do anywhere in the world. I've got 5 kids. There's a lot going on, and somebody's always either needing or I need to go there. And being able to be present wherever I am at any moment in time is really the best version of freedom.
Big difference from those years of spending 20 hours a week or 20 hours a day at the office. So
Big difference. Wow. It's such a big difference.
Hilary, how does somebody get the book first off? And what's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to learn more?
So definitely go to therelaunch.com. The Relaunch is our website, therelaunch.com. You can follow us on Instagram at therelaunchco.com. And the book is available on Amazon. It is, you can just type in Hilary DeCesare. You could type in Relaunch, Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life. And I love people that read it and then they go to the website, check out the 3HQ or the reverse, because we give out a lot of chapters in the actual quiz and things that follow, and see if it resonates. And when it does, again, I love people reaching out to me and DMing me and just saying, hey, this resonated. Wow, this is, I didn't know anyone else had the same thing happen. So I am a big communicator. And don't be shy. Let me know. Let me know what you think.
Love it. Thank you so much for just everything today. It was just a absolute joy. You are a beautiful person internally and externally, and just a beautiful soul. So thank you for sharing all that you are today with our audience. I know there's people out there that are sitting there going, I feel like the way she was, and you just got to figure out how to get there. You got to follow the process and get there.
And every person deserves to be fired up again. There's a reason I call our program the Fired Up Entrepreneur, because we've just, a lot of people have lost that dream.
Yeah.
Time to get that dream back. So Jeff,
like
thank you for letting me be
like
here.
I said, most people build the most beautiful prison as a business and then wonder why they feel like an inmate.
So true. Absolutely. Mic drop on that one.
Thank you for being on. Folks, thank you for joining us. As always, we do these shows for you. We're sharing these stories because we want you, if somebody's sitting out there and listening to or watching this, and this resonates with you, that Hilary story, make sure that you take action on that. Share your comments below of what you're committing to, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we do lots of these and you don't want to miss one. So thanks a lot, and we will see you guys back here the very next time.